I'm Josh Allen, and welcome to the Baked In Podcast, where I sit down with industry innovators to uncover the unique ideas and values that are baked into their businesses and have led to extraordinary success. Today's guest is Lia Weber, founder and head pastry chef behind Made by Lia, a beloved bakery that's captured the heart of North County and beyond. Lia's journey is a story of passion, persistence, and deep community roots. From launching her business out of a small apartment kitchen to opening a bright, welcoming storefront, she's built more than just a bakery. She's built a true community hub. With a new cookbook on the way and big plans for the future, Lia is proof that when you lead with values and authenticity, incredible things can happen. This podcast is presented by Busey Bank. Since Busey opened their doors in 1868, they've upheld a pledge to foster customer relationships and vibrant communities, embodying a legacy of partnership and progress. With multiple lines of business, Busey provides a range of financial solutions tailored to your needs. From digital banking to planning for retirement, Busey is here to help you achieve your financial goals. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. As a reminder, the best way to support the show is to share it with friends and to follow the podcast on your favorite podcast player. Now, let's roll.
Did you know we're doing a cookbook together?
I did read that, and I want to talk about that today. Yeah. So we'll jump into that. But first, obviously this has got to be a busy time of year for you. We're heading into Mother's Day, heading into graduation, heading into, I guess we're going to get spring here eventually. Is it crazy?
Yeah, I feel like, can we just take a pause on all the holidays? Does there have to be a holiday like every other week? It feels like with Easter and straight into Mother's Day, and it's just a lot.
Is Mother's Day a big deal with
Yeah,
kids?
I usually try to make a big deal about it, but it's just really hard when I have 3 kids and I've got a 7-month-old too. So I'm just like trying to balance home life.
Not 3 plus a 7-month-old, or 3 including the 7-month-old.
Including the 7-month-old. Yeah, at 8, 5, and 7 months.
Okay.
So life is just crazy, and so of course I want to blow up Mother's Day and have all these cakes and everything, but I also want to balance and be able to enjoy Mother's Day with my family too. So it's just trying to find that balance between business and family that I feel like is so hard to do. And for some reason lately, I feel like I just am drowning and can't even keep my head above water. So it's going to be last minute, most likely. That's just how I roll these days.
Right.
And so I'll probably post and be like, hey, we got, these Mother's Day cakes.
But I know, you're much more in the retail side of things and we're in the wholesale side of things, but definitely, April and May are just crazy. Knock on wood, thank God. Yeah. I wish every month was April and May, and then at the same time.
Yeah. Of course, I love being busy and I love the business, or I love the busy seasons. It's just, I feel like lately, which is great for business, we had a super busy January, which usually January, as you know, is a slower month, especially for bakeries. But we were slammed, and that was.
Why do you think that was?
Honestly, I don't know. And
was it walk-in?
Yeah, just
coffee,
walk-in traffic. Morning
stuff,
yep.
Or was it the cakes and
both?
Both? All of it?
All of it. It was just a really busy January, which again, amazing for business. But it was kind of usually we'd take January to breathe after Christmas, and then we went straight from busy January right into Valentine's Day, right into Mother's Day, or just.
How had the holiday season been? Was that busy too?
Yeah. It was great. Yeah, it was awesome. We do these cookie boxes that just explode, and we do so many for corporate events and personal customers and stuff. So yeah, it was really fun.
You opened. What year did you open?
2020, right in the middle of COVID. August 2020. We'll be 5 in August, which
Congratulations.
is
That's a big one.
Yeah, it is. The first 5 years, everybody always says, are once you make it past that, you really.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's great to make it, but it absolutely doesn't get any easier.
I can tell. I'm like, what are the next 5 years going to bring? And it just flew by so quick. And so in opening in COVID, of course, that was rough, but we actually flourished during it. So it was a blessing in disguise.
So for those that don't know, because I think you are one of St. Louis's hidden talents.
Thank you.
You've got a wonderful community-focused bakery in North County up in Florissant, which I think is super cool. What does that look like What does community focused look like on a day-to-day basis? Because I think it's one thing to say, it's one thing to read about, it's another thing to live it and operate it every day. What does that look like?
I mean, we really are in the heart of Old Town Florissant, right down the street from Hendel's, which is another community-focused establishment.
And that's your brother
and sister?
Sister-in-law?
Yeah, my sister and brother-in-law own the restaurant, and it's 30 plus years old, so it's amazing. They're always slammed and busy, and it's so invigorating to see like them always hustling and bustling too. But like we just have we have our regulars that come in all the time, and it's so great to see them every morning, ready for us to open, rain or shine. But then we also have people that come in from all over. Like I drove from Wentzville, or I drove from St. Charles, or I drove from Illinois. I drove from all these places, and they're like, I've never even heard of this place. I've never been here before. Like I never knew there was like this nice little pocket in Florissant, because as many people know, North County gets a pretty bad rap sometimes. And
sure.
But I was born and raised in Bellefontaine, grew up not too far from Florissant, and then just established my roots there. And I'm so thankful that I did, because it was just like what we needed at the time, especially during COVID. Like I feel like everybody just was wanting something to happen good there. And just being community focused has been so special. And I like live, work, play, breathe in that community. I live 60 seconds away, literally, from my front door to the back door of the bakery. I can get there in like a minute.
Is that good or bad?
Both. It's good because for my life with my 3 kids, right now I'm still like nursing my daughter, and so like the babysitters just walk her up. I have a rocking chair in my office, or if I need to run home because she's fussy, or if I need to drop my kids off at school, which they go to Sacred Heart right down the street too. So just having this all like literally in like a few blocks radius is the only way I'm able to do it. Because if I had to like get in the car and drive 30, 40 minutes every day to my bakery, I would not be able to do it. Like literally, it would just not work.
So 5 years in, what does a day look like for you? Are you still open the door? You still the first
So I have an amazing team. They're awesome, and so I'm able to now be able to get my kids to school, and then I come in right after that because I got a team who opens the doors and stuff. Saturdays I'm usually there opening when I can, and I'm there every day, and my day off is Sunday. But it's also like Monday.
You guys open on Sunday?
No, we're closed Sundays and Mondays.
Okay.
Monday's like a big bulk like production day for the team, and like inventory and ordering coffee and all that little stuff that we do. And so on a day to day, like I could be working on a bunch of cakes, or I could be training new employees, or I work the front, I make coffees. I kind of like, I wear so many hats, and it's kind of what you have to do when you're an owner. I'll hop in and mop the floors if I have to, do the dishes when needed. I'll kind of, do whatever I got to do in order to get everything done.
Yeah. So. We've talked a lot. I had Jason Bachman from Strange Donuts on, and we both talked about how there's always a place within your organization that you can go kind of hide, right? And for me, it was the dish room for a long time. It's not that anymore. Now it's like the oven or packing bread. What is it for you? Like if you're just kind of up to that anxiety level, it's like, I just got to go do something and take my mind off it. Where do you go?
Usually I don't really go anywhere. I work on like a painted cake or something. I'll focus right on my cakes. They're like my babies, and I do a lot of painted where it's like kind of, I call it Bob Ross style, but I just have like a palette knife and like a buttercream colors, and I'll just paint on it. And so like usually if they see me working on a cake, they'll know like I'm in my zone. And with us, like you can see from the customers can see back into the kitchen. So I'll just be like, they can see me working on my cakes too. But even I'll have some people be like, oh, I see you're working on the cake or whatever. And usually I'll like wave or something. But sometimes I'm like so focused, and that's just kind of like where I find my peace, is like if I can like zone out on a cake or something. I try not to I like to be present, and I like to be like I like when customers can see me in there, whether I'm up front or whether I'm in the back. So I try not to like hide too much in the office or anything.
Right.
I'm also just
I guess I didn't mean hide in terms.
No, I get it, but
like sort of
to escape from. Yeah, totally. I think it's more so like if I'm getting to or if I ever get to experiment on a new recipe or things like that. It's funny, like when I opened, I still am in the thick of it with my team, and like I always call it like a player coach relationship, because I'm like on the playing field because I'm like working on cakes or working on scones or this or that, but I'm also trying to lead the team. I'm also trying to coach. So it's like trying to like balance the two.
What's the biggest challenge for you with that balance?
Yeah. Just trying to not, still be like, I want to be a cool boss, but I also want to be the boss, like I got to like have the structure of the team. And I feel like it's just hard because, sometimes you don't have full-time people, you have part-time people, and organizing the schedule and making sure someone's there to open every day, and all the little things that sometimes can get like pushed under the rug or just forgotten about, and that you have to like really be like, okay, like I need to have this many people here at this time, and to open the doors, or I need someone here to close too. Like, I have a lot of moms, which is amazing, and my team, like I said, is just so great. But I also have to be flexible too. Like, kids get sick and they have to stay home, or they have to come in late, or this or that. So just really getting that structure, that balance, the consistency is hard.
We were actually just talking about it yesterday. It's like the tardy policy,
yeah.
right? Like we were just trying to kind of come to terms with that issue, which is you want to be flexible, you want to be compassionate. It's hard to find people, it's hard to keep people, but at the same time, your credibility really starts to be questioned by everybody else if Lia gets to walk in 14 minutes late every day and just sort of rolls in when she needs to. And where do you draw that line?
Exactly.
How do you draw that line? What's the number of times that a person can be tardy in a month, in a quarter?
Exactly. It's hard. And at the end of the day, my name is on the building, and so like I take credit for anything, no matter what, whoever, if, and we are so blessed with amazing customers, and we, knock on wood, rarely get like, the negativity or anything, but still at the end of the day, like I take credit for anything because my name is on the building. It's my team, my products going out the door. If somebody's making it wrong, if somebody's showing up late or whatever, that's on me, like as much as like you want people to, like, I feel like I do have a team that cares so much, but still at the end of the day, it's not their, it's not their baby that they're taking care of. It's mine. And so I am always willing to pull the extra weight if I have to. But even on days where my kids are sick, of course I want to be the mom that's at home with my sick kid. Like I would love, there's times where I can't though. And then you have that mom guilt, and then you have the bakery guilt. And I swear when I'm with my kids, I'm like, oh, I should be at the bakery. Or when I'm at the bakery, I'm like, oh, I should be with my kids. It's just like that constant struggle. And just finding, again, I think I've said it 10 times already, but that balance is just really important.
And I don't know that there's ever balance.
No, it's just like almost like that, give and go that you kind of have to have.
I mean, and I think in many respects, it's like your kids. Like you've got 3 kids now. There's a moment where one of those kids needs more attention than another kid, and it's never going to be equitable. It doesn't have to be equitable.
Yeah,
it needs, your love is equitable, but sometimes your attention is not, or the money or the opportunity or whatever it is. It just sort of comes, and you got to deal with it. And it's the guilt piece and the constantly just overthinking that shit is hard.
Yeah, and like I always say, like some people can like come into work and they maybe something happens or this or that, and then they get to leave, and then they don't have to think about it, or we get a bad review, and then it's like, well, we got a bad review. Well, I get a bad review, I go home and I don't sleep, or I think about it, or I dwell on it. I'm like, what happened? Or, I once had somebody say that the person who helped them had no joy in their face, and that person was me. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I a joyless person? Did I really did I not show joy in my own establishment? Like, this is my, like it tore me apart. And then I was like, but I had an off day, and that's okay. Like I have to give myself grace and be like, I'm human too. And that's what I try to like portray too in social media. Like, I'm not just like this person that has a bakery that makes these beautiful cakes all the time. I'm like, I struggle a lot, with everything,
It's real, it's hard.
It's real and it's hard. It's not like, oh, you just get to bake all day and bake cookies. Like, no, it's really hard work. And there's so much that goes into it. Or I love when someone's like, can I get a cake for tomorrow? I'm like, you
talk about the team and about values. Can we talk a little bit about, like, do you have a list of values? Do you have 4 values?
I should have it more written out. I don't have like a board that says like, these are our values. But I think like my main focus as our team is being a team that works together, like a team of creatives that come together to create ultimately beautiful and delicious, pastries. And that's like my main goal is for people to walk in the door and leave happy and like to make their day, put a smile on their face, whether it's writing on their coffee cup with just a little message like, you got this, or whether it's making them be like, oh my gosh, this is the best scone I ever had, or this cookie reminds me of my grandma. Like anything that can make somebody feel that connection between like the love that we pour into our products is so important to me. And I think
but so's the community. I mean, there are other pieces of that. I mean, I guess
totally.
I will say, and we talk about it a lot on the show. I get the opportunity to sit down with a lot of founders and entrepreneurs, and look, we waited 30 years to write our values down and put them on the wall and try to live them, and it's been a game-changing experience for our organization. So I really think that because you are more than just great baked goods and that focus, and I think what I didn't give credence to was I sort of had not the attitude like you have, which is, look, if I live it every day and I show it every day, then people will just get it by osmosis, right? Like they'll just figure it out. And there's new people all the time, and there's turnover, and there's new customers that need to, like, I can't articulate it well enough to everybody every day.
Right.
And
that's actually
I think
a really
it's
good
worth
point.
the exercise of kind of putting
I'm
it
going to do
together,
that for sure, because that's like, and like there are days where I can't be there too, and so like, you know, people want to walk in. Of course, they want to see my face because they're like, "Who's Lia? Where's Lia?" And if I'm not there, you know, then they still got to get that same feeling of like when I am there, you know. So I think that's a really good point.
So, I mean, from baking in your apartment to where you are today, like, are there some key moments that we can kind of talk about? That, I mean, obviously you won the Next Great Baker, which is cool. I don't know that you knew that your partner in that show's brother works for me.
Oh my gosh! No
Ian,
way!
I don't know if you know his brother, but
I mean, I remember his brother. Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
He's worked for us for 10 plus
awesome.
years. But I mean, you had that whole experience. What can you talk about that a little bit? Because obviously that's a huge deal.
Yeah, that was wild. It was seems like forever ago because it was 10, 11 years ago. Makes me feel so old. But that was just like a really exhausting, exciting, like adventure for sure. Like I lived in New Jersey, New York for 2 months. I packed a suitcase not knowing if I was going to be gone for a week, and I ended up being gone for 2 months. And we would do like crazy over the top cake challenges every day, and it was just one of those experiences that really like helped me grow confidence as a baker.
Was that on TLC?
Yeah, TLC.
Okay.
With Buddy the Cake Boss.
Oh, that's right.
And so ultimately we had the opportunity to, if we won the show, which we ended up winning, to work for Buddy the Cake Boss. And so that was when I was at a really big crossroads for my life. I was like, do I go to New Jersey? Do I move? Like my whole like uproot and move?
Were you married at the time?
No. We were dating at the time, and then we got engaged. But I still was like, you know, like was like, I don't know, this is so exciting, once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, why wouldn't I try it out? But I just kept getting like a little pull in my heart, like from God, like being like, you know, this is not for you. Like the Vegas, like, cause I could have ran the bakery in Vegas. And I was you know, living in Vegas is not really like my style. So, it was just like a lot of like, I kept praying like bless it or block it, you know, a lot of like things that just kept, you know, the doors kept closing, and it was like the perfect time because it just wasn't for me. And that's kind of when I, after the show, which I knew I won in like April or whatever, but then the show had to air, and I couldn't tell anybody that I won until August.
Oh, okay.
So it was like this whole like time period where I had to keep this big secret of me winning, you know, a big national TV show. It was really cool. But I was working on my apartment at the time. And then my following like grew by thousands, and I kept getting all these people like, I need a cake, or I need this, or I need that, and I would take all these orders out of my tiny little apartment that had like a half-size refrigerator and one little oven. I didn't even have a counter. I had to use like the burners or whatever. I had like a piece of wood I would put over the top of the burners, and that would be like where I would use my workspace for like icing cakes and stuff. And I would literally walk. It was above Hendel's. That's where I lived, the apartment, and I would walk down their steps, across their parking lot, down a hill, into my uncle's, well, he's a friend, but I call him my uncle, into their home, down into their basement, just to use their freezer. So it was just crazy. I was hustling so hard.
Were you working you worked at Hendel's
and
also?
I was working at Hendel's. I was also working at Wedding Wonderland Cake Shop, I think, at that time. And then I was the pastry chef at Hendel's. But also I started my little Facebook page, Made by Lia. So that's kind of how it all kicked off, just as a little Facebook page, and it grew so much that I had to I was literally busting at the seams.
And then you did some brand. We had Rick Olszak on last year, and Rick's a great guy, a friend of both of ours. You worked for A.B. Maury as a brand ambassador.
That's kind of right at the time where I was literally like busting out at the seams. I was like, I need a place to grow and go. And then I met Rick. And then they were like, yeah, you can come bake out of our baking hub. And
beautiful kitchen.
Gorgeous. I was like a kid at a candy shop. I was like, oh my gosh, like this. I was like, you for real? Like, you want me to come bake here? And they're like, yeah, You can come, you can just run your, I ran Made by Lia out of there, like not customer base wise, but that's where I did like all my corporate events, all my weddings, everything that I needed to make for my business. And it was a huge opportunity that let me grow so much more than I was going to be able to have been out of my tiny apartment. And I did that for a few years, and it was just amazing. And like it worked out for them too, because they had tons of clients that come in, and they would like watch me make my cakes and stuff, because it was like surrounded, like I was like in a fishbowl. It was like surrounded by windows. And then I traveled with them a lot on for trade shows and stuff like that. So it just really kind of helped me grow my business, and again as a baker and as a business owner too. So it was really cool.
And then at some point you decided to open brick and mortar.
So then it was just time for me to kind of leave the baking hub. And then I had my daughter, and she was probably like 2 at the time. And then I was pregnant with my son, and I was just kind of like lost. I was like, what do I do? Do I stay at home? I was baking then at home, and that was just a mess, because my mom would be there watching my daughter, and then I'd have a huge mess in the kitchen, and then Max would come home, my husband Max, and it would be like, it's just a mess. Like baking from home is just never, running a business, baking out of home is never a good idea, just because you have your mess with you all the time. And so we walked the streets of St. Francois every day with my daughter, and I would be like, I don't know, maybe I should open a bakery. And we looked all over St. Louis for buildings, anywhere from Kirkwood to Webster to Clayton over the years, we just kept looking, but never found the right spot. And then, was there something you were looking for, or you just felt like you would know it when you saw it? Yeah, I'm the type of person, I knew, like even when we bought our home, I walked in, I was like, yep, this is it. But I could walk into a million other ones and be like, nope. And he'd be like, but we could do this. I'm like, nope, it's not right. So I just had like this feeling. And we would walk the streets of St. Francis like all the time, just right down a couple blocks from our house. And this building came for sale. And I used to like always be like, man, that would be such a cute bakery. It has beautiful windows and everything. But I was like, no, that's not for sale. Well, then it was. And we toured it. And I thought I was going to instantly feel my feeling, like that's it. And I toured it, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't have that feeling. And so then I started being like scared and like not sure if that's something I want to do, because as you know, starting a business is like a really big deal. And I was like, well, maybe I should just be, stay at home with the kids, or maybe I should do this or that. But then I just kept getting this little nudge, like be like, okay, just explore it further. And we ended up touring the building again, and then putting an offer on it. And I think that was in December of 2018. So we actually we had bought the building in spring, I think, of 2019. I was pregnant, and so my son was due in the summer, and we were supposed to open right before COVID hit. Like literally my grand opening date was 2 weeks before the world shut down. And I was like, oh, it's just going to last a few days. I remember scrubbing like the ovens and like having everything getting ready. And my sister was like, I don't think you're going to be able to open. I was like, oh, it's not going to last that long. Sure enough, the world shut down. So we had to shift plans, and it was a blessing in disguise, because my son was 5 months at the time, 6 months. And so I was able to spend more time with him. I did not have a team set up at all. I had myself and maybe one other person that was going to work for me, and we would have just gotten like eaten alive. Like it would not have worked out at all. So we ended up doing like all these pop-ups, which was really fun. So I post on Facebook and be like, okay, I've got cake bombs and this and that, and they would sell out in like 10 minutes. And so that was really fun to like keep the buzz going.
Sure. Out of that storefront you were doing?
We would just have pickups like outside, just because it was during COVID and stuff. And then I launched a Kickstarter, which was huge, because we were planning on having like all this extra funds from our weddings, that all of the weddings got canceled during the spring, because of COVID. So we launched a Kickstarter, and I had these really fun incentives, like, spend this amount and you get, a free cake, or a cake class, or a wedding package. I had all these really good ones. And it exceeded our goal in 24 hours. I think I set it at like $10,000, and we reached $15,000 in like 24 hours. And then we ended up, I think it was like $25,000 on Kickstarter, which was just a huge push to help us open the doors. And I finally had a team set up, and we opened with a bang, and we had lines down the street for months. And I feel like we haven't slowed down yet, which is great.
Is it growing month over month
still? Yeah, we still are growing. Like our customer base has a wider reach now, like even just from not only community, but like I said, people have been coming from all over. I don't even know why or how, but my Instagram, like every day, I'm like, man, I just keep getting all these followers. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I'll take it. But I also, like, that's another business in itself, is keeping up with social media and things like that is really hard. And I run all that. I do all the marketing. And
is there pressure to grow faster than you're comfortable with, or do you feel like you've got that under control?
I feel like I'm growing at a faster rate than I can control at the moment. Like, I could be taking way more orders. I have to say no a lot, and that's really hard for me. I don't like saying no. But I'm only, I have to remember what we're capable of and what we can do. And I'd rather make sure that I have everything that I've got on our books like exceeded perfectly than like taking too much and then like sending out work that's not.
Is it number of bakers? Is it size of the space? Like what would fix the capacity?
I think it's consistency in like my schedule of my bakers, because I don't have like full time every day. I only have a couple full time people. So I think if I could have more of a full time team, then I could definitely achieve more. Space wise, I think we could always grow into, like, we have a big basement that I have this vision of turning our basement into a production space someday. So that's not necessarily the problem. It's also like my time too. Like where with my 3 young kids, like how much can I physically do without like jeopardizing, my time with my kids too. So I feel like, they are priority right now. Family does always come first. But I also want to make sure that I am growing my business, because I'm also trying to expand my brand and become like I'm writing a cookbook, and I'm doing all these things that I want to help grow in other ways too. Not necessarily growing like as far as like taking more cakes and this and that, but I want to grow as like a brand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, we're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
And then I want to get into the cookbook, and I want to get into the brand building, because I think that's an interesting thing that certainly for myself, I didn't have to think about. Like it was just, in the mid 90s, you never talked about personal brand when it came to food service. So I'm excited to get into it.
Me too. Cool.
Did you know that businesses can help protect our planet with every sale? That's the idea behind 1% for the Planet, a global movement where companies pledge 1% of their top-line revenue to environmental causes. Since 2002, members have given nearly $700 million to nonprofits tackling critical issues like climate change, conservation, and food insecurity. At Companion Baking, we're proud to be a part of this mission in 2025. We're contributing through local partnerships, like donating $50,000 in baked goods to the St. Louis Area Food Bank and supporting regenerative agriculture through our partnership with ADM. Learn more about how 1% for the Planet is driving change at 1%fortheplanet.org. It's fun to
this is good.
Catch
and
up.
Honestly, like you've always been somebody that I feel like I've like looked up to as a business owner. But even just the comment about the values, I'm like, why haven't I done that? Like, that's a great idea.
Well, I think the cool thing, for me, the whole podcasting thing is, like, when would we sit down and have a cup of coffee?
Right.
Like, I would love to do it, but you're fucking busy.
I know.
It's crazy. Like, I'm not going to call you up. I mean, it's...
I know, I get it. I'm the same way.
So hopefully this can help you build your brand, right?
I think it's great.
As part of your mission
and
of brand
sometimes
building.
It's so nice to know that there's other people that go through the exact same things.
So let's talk a little bit about the cookbook, because I know it's kind of growing into a bigger project than you initially thought it was going to be. Did I read that right?
Yes, which I'm so excited about.
This is your first one.
My first. Well, yeah, I wrote like a little cookie book for Christmas cookie time, or during the Christmas season too. Not this past season, but those
that you just published like at the store at the.
No, this was through Reedy Press, the same publisher of the cookbook. But it's like a little, like almost pamphlet. It's like a little thin, just cookie pamphlet book, recipe booklet is kind of what I called it. And it was great, and it sold really well. I think I sold like 1,000 copies, and I was super excited about it. I woke up one morning at like 4 a.m. I'm like, I'm gonna write this book, and I'm gonna take all these pictures, and I did all the photography, and it was just really fun. But this book is like basically like probably like my greatest hits. It's like a bunch of my really strong recipes, whether from the bakery or from ones that I developed at home with my kids, to ones that were like my grandparents' recipes, and just like all the recipes that make me happy and that kind of helped grow Made by Lia. And so it's Rick from Maybe Mari approached me. He's like, hey, I'm looking to do a cookbook, and do you want to go in on it with us? And I was like, absolutely, thinking that it was just going to be like, a couple of my recipes or, a majority of theirs of Fleischmann's yeast. But then it turned into be like a Made by Lia cookbook, which is awesome, but we're like 2 years in, I think.
Really?
Well, it was supposed to come out last year, but then I had a baby. And normally it would probably been fine, but I'm the worst pregnant person and am so sick. And so it was just like, I wasn't able to work on it as much as I wanted to. We did a lot of the photography last year and a lot of the planning, but I didn't have time to sit down.
So how do you, I mean, there are so many, right? Like how do you make it different, or what's the uniqueness of what you're doing? I mean, obviously you're a super talented person, you know, all that is, that's almost like you got to be just to get into the cookbook thing, but how do you make it different?
I think was my hardest part, because there are so many amazing people who write cookbooks, and I'm like, who am I? You know, I'm just Lia from North County. Like, you know, I don't, maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit, but I also like kind of struggle with that too. I'm like, is it going to stand out on a shelf? Like, are people like really going to care? Or like, are they going to be like, who is this Made by Lia girl? Like, if it's sold in other states and things like that. But my whole thing is I'm just trying to like, I think bringing people back to the kitchen is so important, especially this day and age. Like, you rarely see people even sitting around the dinner table or making their family dinners. And even after a long day's work in the kitchen, I still go home and I make dinner at pretty much every night. I try to. And that's like so important for me and my kids. Like, I get them involved in the kitchen. I love when they, you know, my daughter's like, I learned how to cut when I was 2. Like, she like has a chef knife, you know, like, and so just trying to like instill the family aspect into cooking is really important.
So if I ask you though, I mean, is it a financial opportunity? Is it brand building? Is it like, what is there something that you can hang your hat on? Because I mean, I've talked to a lot of people that do it, and some people lose money putting cookbooks out, right? Because
it's definitely not about the money. Yeah, it's not a financial thing for me. It's more of like, it's been one of my passions and dreams to get to write a cookbook, and I hope this is like the first of many.
Okay.
Even though it's like one of the hardest things I've ever done, and I'm the type of person that like adds a little of this and a little of that, so like getting it down to like the precise recipes is really hard for me. But I think it's part of my brand. Like, my goal for Made by Lia from the very beginning, not only to have a storefront and a brand that is recognizable and that people can come to and know that they're going to get quality and beautiful, you know, aesthetically pleasing things too, but I'd rather, instead of like have like 5 Made by Lias all over this St. Louis, because sorry, but that's not my goal. I'd rather grow my brand and have like cookbooks and have my own, like, my dream is, if I'm really talking dreams, is to have my own cooking show.
Really?
Yeah, that's just always been, I grew up watching like all the, you know, Barefoot Contessa and like all those shows when I was a kid. And I feel like we've gotten so far from the original way cooking shows were done, like with Julia Childs and like Martha Stewart, how they would just stand there and they'd tell you how to make something, and they'd give you like great recipes that you can actually achieve, instead of, I feel like nowadays it's like so like either it's competitions or it's like so like fake and not real. And my whole thing about my brand is I'm a real person, and I just want to share recipes with other people and get into their kitchens and teach them along the way too. So
are you pursuing that, or do you sort of have this sense that if I do all these right things and build my brand and make the cookbook work, that
yeah,
if you
a
it
combination,
there, it'll sort of
I'd say it's a combination. I would love to, like, for the actual book it'll be launched in September, I'd love to like have just some videos of like me making the recipes, so that way they can be like, oh, hey, this is, you know, this cheddar chive scone, and then you go onto YouTube or whatever, and there I am making it for you, so that way you can learn how to make it. So trying to, like, you know, because you can write a book and then you could put it out there and then nothing could happen, or you could write a book and put it out there and then it could hopefully blow up and then be, you know, kind of open many more doors.
This is hardcover, thick, beautiful photography, the whole deal.
Yes. Yeah. My brother-in-law, Dawson, did all the photography, and it's beautiful. And I mean, I don't know exactly how like thick of a book it is, honestly, but there's a lot. I think it's like 50 something recipes in there. And this is more pastry and baked good focus and bread focus. Obviously, being with Fleischmann's Yeast, I did have like a whole chapter with like focaccia and cinnamon rolls and my Grandpa Petty's rolls, and a lot of bread focus on that. But
they gave you full creative. I mean, you could
they gave me creative freedom to use
use a little yeast and
use some yeast, and then which was really cool. And I'll be honest, I'm talking to like a bread champion over here. Bread was always intimidating for me, so I don't know why. I just like I was always more cake related, but the actual like labor of bread is so beautiful, and I've loved like learning more about it, and just like kneading the dough just brings me so much peace. And people are always shocked, but I don't even have a mixer at my house. Like all my tools are just like either my hands or, simple. So it's been really nice to like just go back to the basics and like think like bread has been going, being made for just generation upon generation. Right. And so if I have a bowl in my hands and some yeast and stuff, I'm good to go. So yeah, it's fun.
So September that'll come out, and
September it's going to come out, and then I will go on a little book tour, which is exciting, and going to plan like 5 different cities, kind of in surrounding cities to St. Louis, to kind of do a book tour, and then we'll kind of see what happens. I mean, it could be a flop, but I hope not. Like I really hope it does well, and I hope people can actually I want them to be recipes that people will make more than once. I don't want it to be just a book that's going to sit on a shelf. Like my recipes are meant to like, be made and shared and loved. So.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure the metrics are hard to figure out too, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
What makes a successful book?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't know. We're going to just see what happens. And I love marketing. Like that's like, I feel like if I wasn't a baker, I should have gone into marketing or something. So I have a great following. Like my social media is awesome, and people like just seem to really follow along on my story. Maybe it's because I've shared some real and raw moments in my life that have happened, baking aside. And but I have a lot of people that are excited about the book, so I hope it does well.
Yeah, and I mean that's the beauty of social media too. Now you can point them right to buy the book. I mean, you can kind of really bring them in and give them something to. Yeah. Especially for folks that don't live in St. Louis,
exactly.
Right? Because you're not doing mail order baked goods, are you?
No. But we'll definitely have like the book could be shipped. And when I did the little cookie book, it got shipped all over the country, and even into like, I think it was like Belgium and like overseas, like in Europe somewhere. So I was like, that's kind of cool.
Were you putting the books in the envelope?
Yeah.
Or did you have somebody that was all you?
Yeah, we did it. It was crazy. I didn't realize how many we would actually sell and how many we were actually going to be shipping. And I had my husband like printing out labels, and we were stuffing them, and the kids were like sealing the packages, and it was really cute. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see how the actual book does if we're shipping them all over.
So, I mean, I guess you sort of defined, I was going to talk to you about what's next, but I mean, you sort of have defined that big
that's
goal.
Like those are big, big dreams. And if it ends up not happening, that's okay too. But my ultimate goal is I don't want to be one of those businesses, and God bless them, because it happens a lot, and running a business is hard, but I want to withstand the time. My daughter says she's going to take it over someday. Okay. And I hope she can, I want to be there for the long haul, and that's my community. It's where I live, and I love my community so much. I love our location. I have actually more hopes for even just right in my little corner. The building behind me is for sale. I want to buy that, and I want to turn it into a little provision shop. I want to have a wine patio in the back. I want to have I just have all these dreams for like my little lot, and so we just got to get there. And it may not be the right timing yet, because again, I did just have a baby under a year ago. But I'm a dreamer. It's like the easiest way to say it. My husband is always like, can you just like slow down a little bit? I'm like, but we could do this, and we could do that, and we could have this. I want to have a farmer's market like on my parking lot. Like I just have all these ideas that I want to do, and I just feel like maybe I need some help. I don't know. Maybe I need someone to help me do it. But
well, you're obviously doing it. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying, one thing at a time, and we're getting there. So
as you think about other entrepreneurs or other folks that might be listening that want to pull the trigger on an opportunity, any advice for people that
yeah, I mean,
or advice for yourself 5 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years ago. Well, I took the jump, and I didn't honestly know where it was going to lead, but I'm a firm believer that God has a plan, and He's definitely has led me to where He wants me to be in this story. And I think, if you feel that I couldn't sleep, like I was up all night thinking about like the bakery. I was like, before we bought it, and I just felt that nudge, like to just do it, take the jump. You got this, And so my advice is just don't be scared and just do it. And, whether you succeed or not, at least you could say you tried. And I think finding at the right place too, like I really honestly know if I would have opened anywhere else, it would not have worked out like as well as it did. It's just being so close in my proximity to my home with my kids and my community supporting us. And the community just is so broad too. It's not just like North County. Like I feel like I have a community from social media, from the people who follow me, you know? And it's been growing since I was on Next Great Baker, and even before that. I started my little Facebook page in 2012. And so I don't know the math.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we've talked about that a lot with people, because I've talked to St. Louis entrepreneurs, and I mean, St. Louis is really this wonderful community to support people that do take that shot. And try. It's a great independent restaurant town. Yeah. It's a great independent business town, and people want to see the little person, little guy, you know, be successful and make it happen. And they want to tell their friends about it, and they want to tell their neighbors about it. And it's really cool for that.
It's awesome.
That purpose.
And it's so nice to know too that there's so many other small business owners that are going through the same thing I am. Like even all those years ago, I feel like I reached out to you and I was like, can I just talk to you? Like, can you give me some advice? And I know that no matter what, if we went 5 years without talking, you'd still be able to like have my back, you know, or you'd be like, have some piece of advice that you'd be willing to give. And I think that's great in St. Louis. People are willing to share advice and like help, instead of being like, no, I do this way and I'm not sharing it with anybody else, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a zero-sum game. So I think that people recognize that if the rising tide carries all ships.
Exactly.
And so if we can help each other and be successful, and I mean, we always have a chip on our shoulder because we're St. Louisans, right? Like we feel like nobody pays attention or realizes sort of that we punch above our weight when it comes to all of these different industries, and especially food. I mean, I think that's the one piece that we do such an amazing job, and there's some great pastry chefs in St. Louis doing some great things, and bread bakers, and so it's really fun. Well, it's great to it's just great to catch up with you.
Yeah,
it's great to see
awesome.
you. I mean, and I can't believe we got you out of the shop 2 weeks before Mother's Day.
Yeah,
a week and a half before Mother's Day, or whatever.
It worked out good. I'm so glad to be here, and I love hearing your advice. And you're such a role model and an inspiration for a small business owner like me. And look at you now. All over.
Doing a podcast.
Yeah, doing a podcast. But no, I mean, your business is awesome and it's so cool. And I remember going to see your facility like years ago and being like amazed at the production. So
we'll come back and see us because we're in a different spot.
I know you are now.
Before,
yeah, that's
I'd love to show you around.
Yeah, I'd love to be there. Yeah.
Well, it's great to see you. Continued good luck. Have a great spring.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks, Leah.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed sharing these insights from folks I truly admire. Be sure and follow the show in your favorite podcast player to be alerted to newly released episodes. And share a comment if you have any feedback or future contributor recommendations.